Welcome! In today's Explainer, we're diving into a critical miscalculation in Nepal's venture capital scene. It's a major blind spot that has left a huge, and I mean huge, market opportunity completely untapped.
This quote really just nails it. We're talking about a classic red ocean. That's a business term for a market that's bloody with competition. Investors are basically pouring money into a saturated space, fighting over the same small customer base, while a much bigger, more profitable market is sitting right there, being ignored.
So we're going to focus on three crucial takeaways today. First, the market everyone thinks is the big opportunity. Well, it isn't. The real gold mine is somewhere else entirely. Second, the key to unlocking that value isn't just about learning, it's about getting an industry-recognized certificate. And third, and this is the really clever part, that big government barrier everyone's worried about, it's not a hurdle. It's actually a massive competitive advantage, an inverted moat.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll start by breaking down the initial miscalculation. Then we'll look at why the academic market is such a tough place to be. After that, we pivot to the massive blue-collar opportunity. We'll show you why certification is everything, and then we'll wrap up by looking at three possible futures for Nepal.
Okay, so this whole miscalculation really starts with the investment strategy you see all over Kathmandu. The venture capital world has been obsessed with academic apps, the ones that help students prep for big exams like the SEE and NEB. But the entire foundation for that strategy, it's just fundamentally flawed.
So why is this academic market a red ocean? Well, think about it. You've got tons of companies all fighting tooth and nail for the exact same, very limited group of students. The competition is just brutal, and the profit margins are razor thin.
And this right here shows you the economic trap they're all in. On one hand, you have incredibly high costs to get a customer, huge marketing budgets just to get one student's attention. But on the other hand, that student has a super low lifetime value. They buy one course for one exam and then they're gone, forever. The math just doesn't work. It's completely unsustainable.
And the real kicker? There's no unique advantage here. All these companies are essentially just repackaging the exact same public curriculum. Their product becomes a commodity, like selling bottled water. And when your product is a commodity, the only way you can compete is by lowering your price. That leads to a race to the bottom that just destroys profitability for everyone involved.
But this is where things get really interesting. Because while all these EdTech companies are busy fighting over high school students, a much, much larger group of underemployed youth is being completely overlooked.
Just look at the difference in scale. The market for academic prep is that tiny red bar. The market for vocational skills, for the 500,000 to 700,000 Nepalis looking for work abroad every year, it's that giant blue bar. It's not even close. This is the real total addressable market, the real TAM.
Now, the core problem that creates this opportunity is what economists call asymmetric information. It's basically a massive information gap. A young worker in a rural village has no idea what skills a construction firm in Qatar is desperately looking for, and that firm in Qatar has no way to trust that the worker actually has the skills they claim to have. A platform that can solve this trust problem for both sides, well, that platform can create enormous value.
And this leads to a fascinating paradox in how people are willing to spend money. A family might think twice about spending, say, 10,000 rupees for the abstract promise of a better grade. But that same family would gladly invest 10 times that amount, 100,000 rupees or more, for a vocational skill that gives them a clear, tangible return on investment, like doubling their salary.
But let's be honest, an online course on how to be a plumber is pretty much worthless if no one trusts it. And that brings us to the most important piece of this entire puzzle, a credible, verifiable certification. In Nepal, that trust is controlled by one single organization, the Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training, or CTEVT. It's the official government body. They are the gatekeeper. So for any EdTech company trying to enter this space, working with CTEVT isn't just part of the strategy, it is the entire strategy, period.
This regulation acts as what we call an inverted moat. Normally, you think of regulations and bureaucracy as a pain, a hurdle to overcome. But in this case, the complexity of working with CTEVT creates a massive barrier to entry. This means the first company that figures out how to build a scalable model that works with them will have a powerful, defensible business that is incredibly difficult for anyone else to copy.
So the winning play here looks like a hybrid model. Step 1, deliver all the theory online through a smartphone. That makes it cheap and scalable. Step 2, partner with the existing CTVT-approved training centers for all the hands-on practical stuff. And step 3, funnel everyone into the official CTVT certification exam. That's what provides the trusted credential that employers are looking for.
So where does all this go from here? Looking ahead, the analysis points to 3 very different scenarios that could play out over the next couple of years.
Scenario 1 is just stagnation. The status quo continues, which is the worst outcome for the country. Scenario 2 is the rise of a hybrid innovator. One company cracks the code with CTVT and builds an unbeatable market leader. And Scenario 3 is a policy catalyst, where the government itself steps in to modernize CTVT, sparking a whole wave of innovation.
But ultimately, the analysis concludes that the biggest barrier isn't about technology or finding investment. It's cultural. It's a deep-seated mindset that glorifies academic degrees while looking down on the practical, hands-on skills that actually drive an economy.
And that really leaves us with this final, critical question. What's actually going to build Nepal's future? A university degree or a marketable skill? The answer to that question won't just shape an industry. It will define the economic path of the entire nation.